Okay, hi everyone, and good evening to start the evening off. Our poetry circle is now almost 2 years old, or we're going to be 3 years old. And as we've all been talking about, we need to add on more people who come and actually listen to us. So let's start off. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुले हैं इसके, ये गुलिस्तान हमारा. So the Gulistan is us, the poets, and we are made up of all kinds of colors. It describes us perfectly. Different bhasha, जैसे कि हम सब different है. Our school was a mixed up melting pot. And of course, we learnt and spoke a common language, but didn't forget our own. The most of us became brown sahibs. So ये सनार के बारे में 2 लाइनें मैंने लिखी हैं. कुछ इसमें पंजाबी है, शायद जिसको नहीं समझ आएगी मेरे को बताना. पहुंचे एक दिन पहाड़ से, पहुंचे एक दिन पहाड़ पे, गवाची गां की तरह, लाइक अ लॉस्ट काउ. भेज दिया पहाड़ ने तराश के हमें, हमेशा के लिए ये हमें याद रहेगा. तराशा हमें सनार नहीं है. So I present to you the first poet of the evening, Rajiv, who is going to read a poem in English titled The Sand and the Sea, the story of love. Rajiv, in spite of his very precise worded profession, is a poet whose natural bent is to write Inkalabi poems, but is now showing his versatility and today presenting a love poem. Rajiv, go for it, please.
Thank you. Inkalabi by nature and by deed also. So at the last meeting, there was a poem which I had written and which I recited. It was called The Pine, the Deodars and a Love Story, which I put up on the group also. And I got a response that it should write part 2. So I'll put up both at the end of it. So I'm now reciting part 2 of that poem. A little recap on the poem. It was a love story of two people who meet amongst the deodars, the pines, the smell of turpentine wafting on the forest floor, the crackling of the pine needles under their feet. So it had a lot of visual this thing, then fireflies plus hail, etc., etc. And eventually how they get married and they part. So they part, and this is part 2. So part 2 is it starts. I'm just starting it now without much ado. A balmy evening. The scene now shifts to a Goan beach. A Goan beach. The sea breeze caressing my face, my graying locks dancing gently in the breeze, the smell of fish and fenny wafting across the sand, my breath heavy with late afternoon gin as I stumbled across. I am sure I felt the pine needles, the smell of turpentine, but shook myself. It's the sand and the seashells beneath my naked feet. Can't be the deodar and pine here. One tentative step at a time, I climbed a small hillock and was engulfed by a storm of hail and fireflies caught in the headlights of a car. This is something which is in the first poem also, the fireflies and the headlights caught in the headlights in the car. And there she was, not a day older, the same slender alabaster neck, the same slender waist, the same languid gait. But how? How could it be? So how could it be? As I turned towards the sea, a clump of pine and deodars emerged from the sea, and there she was again, billowing in the breeze. Was it her or the fenny, or the promise never to meet again? That's a. So this is the end of it. So
Oh
I'll
boy.
just put them
But
two together.
you should have read the earlier one also.
But you didn't. You said he'll read part two. I have to
No,
abide by the instructions of
I
the
didn't say part two.
Sutradhar.
Read part two. I said read both. I'm sorry. As a lawyer, you're not reading your text properly.
No. I have to abide by the judge's instructions.
No, you should have read both. In fact, I think you should read the first one.
If everybody is not too
Is
concerned
everybody
about the
okay
time, I
with that?
read the first one.
Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, please.
First one will transport us to Sanar.
In a way, no, but actually to the hills only. The pine, the deodas, and a love story. My attempt at a love story, and it says a work in progress. Meet we did amongst pines and deodars, the smell of turpentine wafting across the forest floor, pine needles crackling beneath my feet on a bright sunny Indian winter day, and then the corners where I waited, the markets I haunted for a glimpse or a whiff of your fragrance, and then the heady magic of love. Drenched as you slid into my taxi, the sound of vipers dancing to beating rain, drowned by our heartbeats, knowing not what next. The hailstones like fireflies caught in the headlights, wanting to reach out and willing the storm not to end. The fireflies we ran to catch, the promises we made. A whirlwind romance, a courtship blind to all, and married a week later. Happily ever after was what we thought. And like all stories, must it end in a tragedy? As the novelty of love's warmth, like old perfume, began to turn stale. The pine lost its turpentine, the storm its rain, the hail its fireflies. I don't know what and why, or maybe it is too painful to remember happened. The pines and the deodars still stand tall. Pine needles still crackle beneath my feet, but the smell of turpentine is long gone. We went our different ways to find our different pines and deodars. This was the first poem. And the second
Very
one I
good.
tried to.
Yeah,
Uh,
very nice.
second one I've just read it out to you.
So a question.
Yeah.
Both for part
It's not autobiographical. I knew that question was coming.
Don't cover yourself now.
Actually, what happened, I'll tell you how this poem
No, it's
came
not
about.
possible, sir. So, Who I mean,
knows?
we're all grown up.
It came from the heart.
It has to
If
come
it was, I would say it. I would say it. I made my wife read it. She knows it. Don't worry.
She didn't ask
In
you.
fact, the second part came today because my children are all in Goa. And moment they said landed, I was in the train and I was talking to Mrs. Tuli. I said, wait, I'm sending you a poem. So I sent the second part, which I wrote in the train. I sent it to her last evening. That Goa, the Feni and everything. So I said, why not, mesh the two together? That when he's under the influence of drink and had his afternoon.
I think you've done a very good job on.
So that's how it came.
I think it's excellent, sir.
Of course,
so
drop
this
the
is my little contribution to the magic of love.
Always. Love is always magical. Till it's ours. Till it's ours. Then it isn't.
Yeah.
So,
and first
any
love.
questions?
Usually
Since
first
we
love.
have,
First love, of course,
that's why I've used that waiting around the corners and for a whiff of the fragrance, because I've tried to add that. Normally, that happens only the first time.
Well, not necessarily.
No.
Necessarily.
Please, don't break our hearts.
It happens every time.
It happens
every time.
Basically, it's a chemical imbalance in the brain. That's what
exactly.
No, the chemical imbalance gets balanced and then imbalanced.
And if you're naturally chemically imbalanced, it happens more often.
Oh, yes.
And that's the way it should happen.
Yeah.
Hone do, bar.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was very nice.
That was a good one. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah, I think so.
Our next poet is Abdo, our very own bard. Today he recites in Urdu, titled Jo Guzar Gaya So Guzar Gaya by Bashir Badr. Abdo has given us the unforgettable poem Cannons of Sana, and has had it put to music as well. He has earlier written and recited one in Punjabi. So today he is presenting one in Urdu, Jo Guzar Gaya. Abdo, आप फरमाएं. And yeah.
Thanks, Vinay. This is my second attempt at Urdu, but this is a simple one. The first one was too tough. That was when I did Poet of the Sahar Ludhianvi.
Okay.
That was very tricky. That man was a genius, no doubt about it. But like Vinay said, this one, Jo Guzar Gaya So Guzar Gaya, the title is self-explanatory, and you can actually guess what is to come. And I stumbled on it in WhatsApp only. And a little about this poet, Bashir Badr. He was born pre-independence in Faizabad, Ayodhya of today. And he studied in AMU, Aligarh Muslim University. He did his BA, Bachelor of Arts, MA, and PhD, all three, in AMU. And he got interested in poetry when he was 7 or 8. And after that, he taught in AMU, following which he moved off to Merit, where he taught in the Merit College for 17 years. But then what happened? Rajan, you're from Merit, is it?
I lived in Merit for 6 years. Basically.
Oh, very good. So
So
you
I
would
have
know this, you know.
I've met faculty of Merit College.
Okay. So he
So
was
very-
there for 17 years. But then a very sad incident, you know, which rocks India once in a while. There was communal violence in 1989 or 7 or 8, 9, somewhere then. And his house was burnt. And he lost all his belongings and much of his manuscripts of poems. And then he moved off to Indore and isolated himself. Soon after his wife died, so he got dejected. Then he didn't write for a while till he met his next wife, and then his friends quoted him, and then he started off. After which he never looked back, and he is well awarded poet. He's got the Padma Shri, he's got the Sahitya Academy Award, and so on. Now, and one more thing which I discovered actually this morning. He's a very oft-quoted poet, especially in political circles. And I've noted 3 quotes here by 3 biggies of today, politicians of today. The first time he was quoted, I mean, of the 3 examples that I've got here, the first time was when in December 2016, while addressing a rally, Rahul Gandhi, he slammed the Modi government for the demonetization of the high value notes and how it affected the poor people, because he was addressing a rally just a month after that. That happened in November, if you remember. So what he said was, log टूट जाते हैं एक घर बनाने में, तुम तरस नहीं खाते बस्तियां जलाने में. It was a very apt statement for what he was trying to convey, without taking sides who's right and who's wrong. And then 2 years later, while replying to the president's debate in the Lok Sabha, Mr. Mallikarjuna, Kharge, who was that time not the president of the party, he was the leader of the Congress in the Lok Sabha. So while replying to the presidential debate and whatever the government had said, he quoted a poem which Bashir Badr had written shortly after the Simla Agreement. So you see the context. 1972, when Bhutto and Indira signed that after the war, bringing to a close and the prisoners went back. So it was that background. And he wrote, he quoted that, this Kharge. He says, दुश्मनी जम कर करो, लेकिन ये गुंजाइश रहे, जब कभी हम दोस्त हो जाएं, तो शर्मिंदा ना हो. Look at the meaning of this. And the very next day, to reply him in kind, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he quoted on the same point poem, another verse, where he said, जी बहुत चाहता है सच बोले, क्या करें, हौसला ही नहीं होता. मतलब I'm letting you go off the hook. If I come out with the truth, then God knows what will happen. So this is the three things I thought I mentioned, but coming to the point now. Please, when you because this phrase "jo guzar gaya so guzar gaya" comes in every para, you must see this. This can be used in different contexts. It's basically a metaphor. It could be somebody who's passed on. It can be a breakup in a relationship, anything like that. Something which has happened in the past to break your heart that way. So most of it you will find, as you see, it is more of a relationship, I think, from this part. How to recite it? वो नहीं मिला तो मलाल क्या, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया, उसे याद करके ना दिल दुखा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया, ना गिला किया ना खफा हुए, यूं ही रास्ते में जुदा हुए, ना तू बेवफा ना मैं बेवफा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. वो गजल की कोई किताब था, वो गुलों में एक गुलाब था, जरा देर का कोई ख्वाब था, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. मुझे पतझड़ों की कहानियां ना सुना सुना के उदास कर, तू खिजा का फूल है मुस्कुरा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. वो उदास धूप समेट कर कहीं वादियों में उतर चुका, उसे अब न दे मेरे दिल सदा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. ये सफर भी कितना तवील है, यहाँ वक्त कितना कलील है, कहाँ लौट कर कोई आएगा, तो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. वो वफाएं थी कि जफाएं थी, ये ना सोच किसकी खताएं थी, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. कोई फर्क शाह व गदा नहीं कि वो किसी को बका नहीं, ये उजाड़ महलों की सुन सदा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. तुझे एतबार ओ यकीन नहीं, नहीं दुनिया इतनी बुरी नहीं, ना मलाल कर मेरे साथ आ, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर गया. This is it. And I
really
found it to be
lovely poem. I loved it. And
it,
especially the first stanza, the first two lines were very nice. Please repeat the first two lines.
yeah. You want me to
Just read it out again. The Mohabbat one.
He says, वो नहीं मिला तो मलाल क्या,
हाँ,
जो
बिल्कुल.
गुजर गया सो गुजर गया, उसे याद करके ना दिल दुखा, जो गुजर गया सो गुजर
Yeah,
गया.
so guzar. Very good indeed.
So this was it's a very nice poem with a lot of meaning, really.
Yeah.
Some of these words and phrases I had to look in the Urdu dictionary, Galil, Tawil, and all those kind of ones.
Yeah.
But
What is Tabeel? Malal to yes.
No, I don't have women.
कोई बात
Just brought what is-
कोई बात नहीं, बात पे डाल
My
देना.
dictionary part is lying somewhere else in another room.
Group पे डाल देना.
I'll put that.
Yeah.
Well, come on, people. What do you have to say about all this?
We
जो
need
गुजर
to,
गया सो गुजर गया.
Yeah.
वो भी गुजर गया.
नहीं तो गुजर तो गया, पर आगे बोलो. राजीव.
Yeah.
Past
कहाँ
is
चले
past.
गए? खाना खाने चले गए?
या गायब हो गए.
Trying to eat my food also.
He is having murg masalam.
While satiating my actually, if you remember today, I did write something which was a little similar to this.
Yeah,
It started with, if you remember, I'll read just the first line.
Read.
अब जिंदगी की कोई जरूरत नहीं. It goes like this. The whole poem goes like this. So in a way that fits in there.
जो गुजर गया सो कोई मलाल नहीं. Malal means there's no
Misgiving.
regret, no regret
Misgiving.
or misgiving.
Ill feeling.
Don't feel bad.
No
At least
misgivings.
don't feel bad.
So
No
it's like
misgivings, actually.
But the
everything is all over.
there's no
But
regret.
sir, अब जिंदगी की जरूरत नहीं doesn't mean that.
It's in a
I
kind
am
of context.
taking it forward to that.
It means what the poet wants it to mean. Now, apparently, he wants it to
You
mean.
can understand it in whichever way you want to.
अब जिंदगी की जरूरत नहीं.
Maybe socially
And it's not a negative poem. As it ends, it's not. I'll keep it for the next one.
good.
It's a positive poem.
More or less moving on. I've been
That
waiting
was
for a
very
long time.
interesting, Abdo. I really liked it.
Very good, Abdu. I liked it
Yeah.
too.
Good choice. I mean, it's there's nothing. आप कुछ कर नहीं सकते. जो चला गया तो चला गया.
So gaya.
उसका ना
So
जो शोक बना सकते हैं, ना उसकी खुशी बना सकते हैं. खुशी बना सकते हैं एक्चुअली. वो तो खुशी तो हर चीज की बना सकते हैं.
तो शोक भी बुरा नहीं है. शोक मनाना भी अच्छी बात है.
बहुत जरूरी है.
बहुत जरूरी है.
मतलब ग्रीव करना भी जरूरी है.
ग्रीव है, बट अभी उसका कुछ कर नहीं सकते.
But that was a nice one, Abdul. Very good.
I'll post it in the
Good
group.
choice. Yeah, please post it. Okay, so we'll move on. The next poet is Rajan, and he is also going to he's going to recite in English. His poem is titled Love, San Juan. Rajan is a prolific writer. His poems are multi-layered. He writes from the heart. Today's poem is about love and brings in myths and metaphors. The San Juan Islands are close to Seattle. Is that right, Rajan?
About miles from Seattle.
Okay. So you can tell us a little bit, introduce us to that, to the area, and introduce us to your poem as well. Go for it, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinay. Okay. Now, north of Seattle, between Washington, the state of Washington, and British Columbia, is the Puget Sound. It's kind of a bay with several islands in it. And typically, the islands are either there's a lot of vegetation and all kinds of fauna. So there are deer and whale watching and so on, kayaking and so on. So that in summer, the islands are throbbing with visitors, and people go kayaking, all kinds of things. So this poem is basically set in that setting, and some of the so the footnotes to it, which I will repeat when I get to them.
Rajan, could you be a little louder also, please? Be a little closer to your mic.
Thanks. Can you hear me better?
Yes,
Okay.
that's better.
Love San Juan. San Juan, emerald isle in the Puget Sound, off whose shores reaching whales abound. In lush meadows green, graze deer unafraid. Bald eagles soar, thrive, and breed. Seeds of love fall on fertile soil. Venus was born on a scallop shell. Botticelli painted love's cradle. The love goddess lands on our isle. Now, just as a footnote, the painting Botticelli painted shows Venus on a scallop shell. So if you Google that, you will see it. A nice picture. To earth, Menaka Apsara descended, her garments blown awry, wind wicked. Rishi Vishwamitra, this raindrop enfolded, loved, was loved, made her fecund. Now, I put footnotes for that for American readers, but you all know that Menaka was an apsara sent by Indra, king of the gods, to lure the sage Vishwamitra and cause him to abandon his penance. And an apsara is a celestial nymph or naiads that are divinely beautiful dancers. A love song sung out of tune, croaked out in lusty abandon, defiance of age its burden, giving all self its refrain. O Venus devotee, consider the strain before you shoulder her burden, sing the song again. Its refrain may burst your heart in pain. Menaka was forever dismissed, abandoned. The rishi, self-disciplined, personified, Jung's wise old man, by himself rendered, moves on, sacrificing an infant for rishihood. Now, Jung's refers to Carl Jung's collective unconscious, its constituent archetypes and their effects on the shadow and the ego are referred to here. And an archetype is basically a type that is universal. Uh, O San Juan, lovely San Juan, ashore, passion, joyous consummation, offshore, kayaking, whale watching, sharing emotion, love offered, rejected, incompatible, ruination. Circe, lovely singer, strange enchantress, malicious yet helped. Did love beget Odysseus' children? Jung's archetype anima or Herm's thwart rejection. Penelope lay with Circe, Odysseus. Vishwamitra, Agamarchana, Kaushika, rishis or other ancestors joined voices, soft echoes. Among the temple's musical pillars, urge the poet to live, love, Kama Sutra beckons. Pain of parting, pain endured, mind inured, mind open, mind susceptible to be loved, not to love, loved is to be dead. San Juan's splendor is etched in
What
light.
we heard about.
And what's that? I want to explain. So for the musical pillars, basically, if you go to the Padmanabha Swami temple in Trivandrum, there are pillars on which if you know you tap, then you get sarigama. Okay, you get sarigama. And the other thing that happened to me was when I was like 16 years old, I stood in the temple. I stood in the temple and I got this feeling of my ancestors reaching out to me, of saying that I was one of a long line that had stood in the same place, and that line would stretch forward beyond me, and that was the only immortality that there was. Right? So that's
Very good, Raj. Now, give us a little background. Did you go over there for a holiday?
oh, okay. So this was right after I mean, in those days it was like sixth form, right? You remember, right? So it was after sixth form, and
No,
I was
San Juan Island.
oh, San Juan Island. San Juan Island actually okay. Uh, this this is basically well, it's something that happened, and it happened to me, and so I am divorced, as you I don't know if you know about it or not. I divorced my wife when I was 68.
Yeah.
So there was this black lady that I fell in love with. Okay, and so the two of us went to San Juan.
Oh, very nice. Sounds good.
And so and the so after a few months, she decided that we were incompatible. Okay, so that's the incompatible part.
Oh, okay.
It's it's not something new. I mean, people.
This is the way life is. Jo guzar gaya, so guzar gaya. It's like that.
But I seem to have a little bit more than my share, but that's okay. So, you know, so that's so based on that, I wrote this thing. So it's personal experience, and which is why actually which is the defiance of age. Okay. I mean,
Good.
one would say that one should be, a little bit more sensible, but well, you are what you are, right? I mean,
Of course.
okay, that's
And be happy. Be happy
yeah.
in whatever circumstances. And
Yeah,
falling in love is a very wonderful thing. Age has nothing to do with it.
And you are fortunate to have experienced it.
Oh yeah.
Pankaj, put your cigarette down because your turn is coming next.
Yeah,
I have a question, sir.
Oh, question, bolo.
Are you still in touch with her, sir?
No. What?
No. Otherwise, you should send it to us.
What is it?
You should send the poem to her.
Oh yeah. Oh no. The reason is basically, so I wrote other poems for her, right? And,
Okay.
So I'm not.
Sometimes you must recite those poems to us.
I'm ready. You want anytime you want, I can recite it to you.
Next time. We can't hear you, Rajiv. You're muted.
I said we'll make you the serial killer.
Good one. The serial killer of love. I mean, in love. Bar.
Acha,
So then
the
that should be
Botticelli.
serial lover.
Serial lover is better.
You could put it
Whichever way you want it.
See, because the first time I fell in love was with an OS. So, you want to hear about that?
With who?
No, let's go on. Next time, Pankaj, your turn now.
Who did you fall in love with first time, sir?
With an OS.
Oh, you already an OS?
Old Scenarian.
No, while you were in school or after you passed out?
When I was in IIT. So
and you didn't fall in love when you were in school?
In school, nobody wanted to look at me.
You can fall in love, yeah. Nobody has to look at you.
That's a good one. That's a very good one, Pankaj. But where's the problem with falling in love, yeah?
Pankaj, is that an autobiographical admission?
Yes, sir.
In which situation you please
it is autobiographical of almost 90% of
all of
scenarios.
Yeah.
All of us. The girls or the boys, both.
There was a guy in my batch. He came back after dinner and he said, "I'm dating so and so," and she was a real hottie.
Okay.
So I asked him, "Does she know that you're dating her?"
So what? मतलब अपने मन में ही date करना.
There was a similar guy in when I was at IISc. Similar. He said, "I'm in love with her." So I said, "Have you said anything to her?" And he says, "No."
No.
I think I've been in love with many people and never told them.
I'm in love with her. Have you said anything to her? No, she's deaf.
Every second day I'm in love with somebody or the other.
Yeah.
With me,
we have a
somebody joined.
Intruder.
Ida, that's good.
Lucky number 7 now. We are 7. Lucky 7.
Pankaj, I think before you joined,
Lucky 7.
Our poetry session was hacked.
Let us see you also.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in my pajamas, but here I am.
But
Don't
you're
show
looking
us your
lovely, so it's
pajamas.
okay. We are not interested in the pajama part.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
worthy, named after the worthy opera.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Actually, so yes, yeah, absolutely. So Verdi actually was visiting Egypt at the time he wrote it, and he was the guest of the Tsar, whose daughter's name was Aida. So in Arabic, it's Aida, like with a year, Aida, and then it became Aida because I guess it was most famous in Russia, and that's how they said it.
No,
Okay, so good to have you here. We'll
Thank you.
we'll move on to our next poet, or rather, we'll move on to Pankaj. Pankaj is the man that captures poetry with his camera. One always looks forward to his selection of photographs and of poems. His style of recitation is very expressive. His choice of the poems that he recites are usually in Hindustani, and today Pankaj is going to give us a peek into the heart of Kaifi Azmi. Pankaj, go for it.
Thank you, ma'am. So, I've been a fan of Kaifi Azmi forever, but obviously limited to what was presented in Hindi cinema. And then I thought I must try and read his non-filmy stuff to figure out where was the foundation which led him to write those immortal lyrics for film. So a little bit of research and I'm going to share a few of his, a select few couplets of Kafi, but uh, a brief introduction of Kafi before that. So Kafi Azmi was born Atar Hussain Rizvi in Mizwan, Azamgarh district, and that got him his title after the place, Azmi. At age 11, Azmi wrote his first ghazal, Itna to Zindagi mein kisi ki khalal pade. But most, including his father, thought it was his elder brother's work. When the elder brother denied it, his father decided to test the poetic talent, giving Azmi one of the lines of a couplet and asked him to write a ghazal in the same meter and rhyme. Azmi completed the ghazal, which later became a rage in undivided India, sung by Begum Akhtar. During partition, he went underground in Aurangabad, hounded by the British police for being a card-carrying communist. By the time he surfaced, his parents and 5 brothers had taken the ship from Bombay to Karachi. He was denied a visa for Pakistan for several years, despite the fact that his family lived there, because he was a communist. Azmi started to win great acclaim as a poet and became a member of the Progressive Writers Movement of India. At the age of 24, he started activities in the textile mill areas in Kanpur. As a full-time worker, he left his life of comfort, being a son of a zamindar. He was asked to shift his base to Bombay and start party work with mill workers. His first collection of poems, Jhankar, was published in 1943. Azmi is to date remembered as the one who brought Urdu literature to Indian motion pictures. While directors like Khwaja Ahmad Abbas and Bimal Roy strove to create the new cinema, writers like Sahil Ludhianvi, Jan Nisar, Akhtar, Majru Sultanpuri and Kaifi changed the vocabulary of the Hindi film song, creating a fresh new wave in Hindi film lyrics. As a lyricist, he will always be remembered for Guru Dutt's Kaagaz Ke Phool, 1959, चेतन आनंद हकीकत 1964, अनुपमा 1966, पाकीजा 72, हस्ते जख्म 73, and Earth 1982. He also wrote scripts and dialogues, excelling with Chetan Anand's Heer Ranjha 1970, Garam Hawa 73, and Sham Benegal's Manthan 76. A few of his select couplets. बस एक झिझक है यही हाल दिल सुनाने में, बस एक झिझक है यही हाल दिल सुनाने में कि तेरा जिक्र भी आएगा इस फसाने में। इसी में इश्क की किस्मत बदल भी सकती थी, इसी में इश्क की किस्मत बदल भी सकती थी, जो वक्त बीत गया मुझको आजमाने में। इंसान की ख्वाहिशों की कोई इंतहा नहीं, इंसान की ख्वाहिशों की कोई इंतहा नहीं, 2 गज जमीन भी चाहिए 2 गज कफन के बाद।
वाह वाह वाह, really he wrote so beautifully.
बस्ती में अपनी हिंदू मुसलमान जो बस गए, बस्ती में अपनी हिंदू मुसलमान जो बस गए, इंसान की शक्ल देखने को हम तरस गए।
Too good, too good.
रहने को सदा दहर में आता नहीं कोई, रहने को सदा दहर में आता नहीं कोई, तुम जैसे गए ऐसे भी जाता नहीं कोई। एंड दिस एवरीवन नोज। तुम इतना जो मुस्कुरा रहे हो, क्या गम है मुस्कुरा रहे हो। मेरा बचपन भी साथ ले आया, मेरा बचपन भी साथ ले आया, गांव से जब भी आ गया कोई। रोड थोड़ा सूख गया।
Can I add that? सनार से कोई आ गया तो ऐसा लगा बचपन फिर दोहरा गया।
अरे वाह,
Wonderful.
I'll mail it to Kathy.
Wherever he is.
शोर यूं ही ना परिंदों ने मचाया होगा, शोर यूं ही ना परिंदों ने मचाया होगा, कोई जंगल की तरफ शहर से आया होगा। पेड़ के काटने वालों को ये मालूम तो था, पेड़ के काटने वालों को ये मालूम तो था, जिस्म जल जाएंगे जब सर पे ना साया होगा। दिस इज अनदर फेमस वन। आज सोचा तो आंसू भर आए, आज सोचा तो आंसू भर आए, मुद्दतें हो गई मुस्कुराए, हर कदम पर उधर मुड़ के देखा, हर कदम पर उधर मुड़ के देखा, उनकी महफिल से हम उठ तो आए। रह गई जिंदगी दर्द बनके, रह गई जिंदगी दर्द बनके, दर्द दिल में छुपाए छुपाए, दिल की नाजुक रगें टूटती हैं, दिल की नाजुक रगें टूटती हैं, याद इतना भी कोई ना आए। गर डूबना ही अपना मुकद्दर है तो सुनो, गर डूबना ही अपना मुकद्दर है तो सुनो, डूबेंगे हम जरूर मगर नाखुदा के साथ। कोई तो सूद चुकाए, कोई तो सूद चुकाए, कोई तो जिम्मा ले, उस इनकलाब का जो आज तक उधार सा है। जिस तरह हंस रहा हूं मैं, पी पी के गर्म अश्क, जिस तरह हंस रहा हूं मैं पी पी के गर्म अश्क, यूं दूसरा हंसे तो कलेजा निकल पड़े. This one I really like. Short and sweet. बेलचे लाओ, खोलो जमी की तह, बेलचे लाओ, खोलो जमी की तह, मैं कहां दफन हूं, कुछ पता तो चले. की है कोई हंसी खता, हर खता के साथ, की है कोई हसीन खता, हर खता के साथ, थोड़ा सा प्यार भी मुझे दे दो सजा के साथ.
वाह 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 वाह.
And the last one. रोज बसते हैं, रोज बसते हैं कई शहर नए, रोज धरती में समा जाते हैं. कैफी आजम.
Very good.
Wonderful, very nice. Give a nice background. I want to
Very,
know
very.
that one. What was that one that Begum Akhtar sung that he wrote on?
Even I wanted to know that.
Yeah, I googled it, but I couldn't find it.
We'll find it one of these days.
Yeah, yeah.
But tell me,
because I googled and Begum Akhtar had sung some 13, 14 of his nazm.
हाँ, but do you know it's कुछ लफ्ज पता है? कोई एक आध लफ्ज या even
ढूंढना पड़ेगा. कल नॉमकॉम की मीटिंग
मफहूम भी बता सकते हो तो फिर
कल कितने बजे मीटिंग?
5 बजे से.
in the middle of it all.
You can
Acha,
recite that. You can start by reciting that.
But
my favorite line you recited, which is याद इतना भी कोई ना आए, दिल की नाजुक रगे टूटती.
It's so good.
That's my favorite.
too good. But tell me, is there a book or something by him that we can buy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many, man.
Many.
And it's written in Roman?
Yeah, it's all there's it's all translated and everything.
Okay.
There are 3 types. One will have the Urdu words,
Yeah.
then it will have a transliteration, and then a
Okay.
translation.
Okay.
Wow.
But
So you
Anjum,
can read, if you can't read Urdu, you can
Anjum,
read
the
Urdu.
line before that, याद इतना भी कोई ना आए, is very nice.
Yeah,
Very beautiful.
के नाजुक
दिल की नाजुक रगे टूटती हैं. Yeah, that's what.
Oh my God, this is too much.
नाजुक रगे टूटती हैं.
It gives you goosebumps, you know.
है ना?
एकदम जैसे ऐसे हो जाता है.
Goosebumps हो जाती है.
और होता क्या है कि याद इतना आता है कोई.
No, and if you, I mean, one is what he's written, but one is the style of speech, no?
Yeah.
It's got that pan in his mouth, and it's got that.
So you've got to have this whole imagination. But you recited it very well.
Very nice.
Yes.
Good job. So carrying on in the same theme, we now have Anjum in Hindustani or Urdu. अंजुम की कहानी उन्हीं की जुबानी.
अरे वाह.
अंजुम ना सिर्फ शायरा हैं, ये आर्टिस्ट भी हैं और थिएटर में भी रुचि रखती हैं, and prose में भी लिखती हैं. Multi-talented. Her poem was about depression, which is something I cannot associate with Anjum. Anjum's spirit is a bubbly spirit. So how she's come up with this, I don't know. Maybe she'll give us the background to it. But Anjum, go for it.
He's come up with it because I've left them.
नहीं, वो कैफी ने कहा है ना, ये जो इतना मुस्कुरा रहे हो.
हाँ, ये जो इतना
सही. True.
चलो मुस्कुराइए.
अच्छा जी, बताइए.
Actually, it's like, it's not sadness really, it is depression, and it is quite clinical, and you have a difference. Let's see.
Actually, you should have kept it for next time. Harbans would be here.
जी?
Harbans would be here, then he would comment on it. Being a psychiatrist.
Oh, अच्छा, I didn't know that. अच्छा. Just like it's ये नहीं होता है कि आप बैठ के रो रहे हो, एक डिस्कनेक्ट होता है, एक अलग ही just जो जिसने एक्सपीरियंस किया बस वही समझ सकता है रियली।
एब्सोल्युटली।
और कई बार तो हम लोग ऐसा भी हुआ होगा लोगों के साथ कि you're not able to identify it, and it has, like, you probably are, you wonder what is wrong. तो खैर मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ trying it with interspersing it with some music. Okay. With your permission.
Irshad.
कुछ सूझता नहीं, कुछ लुभाता नहीं, कुछ सूझता नहीं, कुछ लुभाता नहीं, इस दिल को इन दिनों कुछ भाता नहीं। कोई चाहत, कोई हसरत अब सताती नहीं, क्यों हाथ में पड़ा हीरा चमकता नहीं। धुंध की गिरफ्त में है हवस ए खमसा। हवस ए खमसा is like all your senses, your 5 senses. धुंध की गिरफ्त में है हवस ए खमसा, खुली आंखों से अब कुछ नजर आता नहीं। रंग बेरंग बदरंग हुए सब रंग, रंग बेरंग बदरंग हुए सब रंग, ये बारिश की लगी छड़ी अब थमती नहीं। रास्ते हैं उलझे और मंजिल दूरस्त, रास्ते हैं उलझे और मंजिल दूर अस्त, इन छालों से अब चला जाता नहीं। देखते देखते बढ़ी एहसास से कमतरी, देखते देखते बढ़ी एहसास से कमतरी। एहसास तो कमतरी is feeling less than others. You feel you're worthless, that sense of worth. कमतरी, देखते देखते बढ़ी एहसास से कमतरी, आईने में अक्स मुझे पहचानता नहीं। आईने में अक्स मुझे अब पहचानता नहीं। जिंदगी के शोर में हुई दफन एक आवाज, जिंदगी के शोर में हुई दफन एक आवाज, ये शहर खामोश चीखे सुनता नहीं। जलजलों से उठता है सीने में सैलाब, जलजलों से उठता है सीने में सैलाब, मुसीबतों से यहाँ कौन घबराता नहीं। साथ चलने के लिए अब कोई बुलाता नहीं, चलने के लिए अब कोई बुलाता नहीं, क्योंकि सोते हुए को कोई उठाता नहीं। सोते हुए को कोई उठाता नहीं. That's it.
Very good. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Anjum,
Very good.
अंजुम, ये वाली लाइन प्लीज दोहराओ. आईने में कोई.
अच्छा.
अक्स.
अक्स.
बोलो.
देखते देखते बड़ी एहसास से कमतरी. एहसास से कमतरी मतलब you keep saying that you एक फीलिंग होती है कि सबको पता है सब क्या कर रहे हैं, मुझे बस नहीं पता मैं क्या कर रही हूँ. आई एम नो गुड, आई एम वर्थलेस. देखते देखते बड़ी एहसास है कमतरी, आईने में अक्स मुझे पहचानता नहीं.
Very good. Beautiful. Very well written.
Anjum, you inspired me to write something for the first time.
Please, lovely, do.
Pankaj, bolo. Irshad.
उठ अंजुम, देख बदरंगी के रंग, महसूस कर उदासी की खुशी, सुन जिंदगी के शोर का सकून.
Very good. वाह.
Very nice.
एक बारी फिर बोलो.
Very good.
सेटल हो जाए.
उठ अंजुम,
हाँ.
देख बदरंगी के रंग,
ठीक है.
महसूस कर उदासी की खुशी,
बहुत खूब.
सुन जिंदगी के शोर का सकून.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
I like it. सुन जिंदगी के शोर का सुकून.
I am always horrified when a Sanharian is depressed. It's not in our DNA.
Well, I am not, but I have to say I did experience it. Few years ago.
We all experience lows,
Yes.
but we don't get depressed.
No,
It's
but
like
it is
this.
actually, that's what I'm saying.
All depression, है ना?
It's clinical. It is actually clinical.
Clinical is in the mind.
I have
No,
I have-
it isn't. That is what I'm saying. अगर आपने खुद इसको महसूस नहीं किया, आप समझ नहीं सकते. क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं कि शायद चलो ये कर लो, खुश हो खुश. एक कहीं वो अभी लिखा नहीं, एक लम्हा होता है कि वो बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है. वो लाइक ये कुछ एक I mean,
Dysfunction.
हाँ. You are not able to function.
Yeah, but Pankaj, what you wrote is also like that is the exact kind of feeling that helps to get one out of it.
Yes.
You know, so it's beautiful. Isn't this called like Jugalbandi or something like that?
Yeah.
We will call it Jugalbandi otherwise.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I was in hospital with COVID, and I was on oxygen and stuff, and I was ordering stuff from Zomato and ordering tandoori chicken.
Trust you. But Pankaj, you and I were in hospital at the same time, if you remember. We both had COVID.
Same time, ma'am. Same time.
And we got discharged also 15 days later, more or less the same time.
Yeah.
You know that there was a famous speech from a Harvard grad about resilience. I think it was a basketball player or something who gave the speech at Harvard. And every time I think of it, I think like I thank God or the universe for this whole what we got in Sanar was resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And we got this thing of positivity.
Yeah.
You always look for the positive part of it. Negativity normally didn't touch us.
Yeah.
And I hope it carries on like
Ma'am,
that.
it's actually a little deeper than that. If you look back, you went through terrible lows.
Of course.
Your prefects and some of those times Rajiv sir will remember. But it's not that Sanar, so because you were in Sanar, it taught you that. But Sanar basically trained you to.
मैंने तो कहा है तराश के निकाल दिया.
बिल्कुल.
Microcosm of the world, basically. So now was a microcosm of the world we were to face after. And exactly like you said, Badrang mein rang dekho. It taught us how to appreciate things even in the worst times.
I've gone through a series of tragedies, problems, this, that, and the other. And it continues. But I never allow my spirit to get down. If I even if it is a bout of tears that I have, maybe at midnight, they're over in 5 minutes, and I say, what the hell? Am I mad? This is not going to solve it. Get up, solve your problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. Resilience is the right word.
True.
Yes.
Okay. Now that I'm being prompted into it, thank you so much for all of you for having taken our time. Each poem was a beauty. I loved it. It would be very nice if you put it up on the group, on our poetry group. Then we can have it there forever. And whoever wants to read them later can. And thank you all for being here. And next time, I'm hoping for better attendance. Each one bring 5. Those are my parting words.